This month marks the 30th anniversary for Kid Niki Radical Ninja. It released for North American arcades in November 1987. Developed by the fairly obscure IRM, it's a pretty simple game. One day you're training at a ninja school while a wizard kidnaps your princess girlfriend. Yep, this was the 80s. The game is an action platformer wherein you fight off rebel ninjas with your trusty sword that you spin around like a bow staff. I honestly thought it was a staff until I saw it get knocked out of Niki's hands later on in the game. Now, the bright colors are great, but like most arcade games of the time, you can only get hit once before you die, thus restarting you at the nearest checkpoint. It was also ported to a variety of 8-bit consoles, most prominently the NES. It's mostly the same game, but definitely a downgrade graphically. There are 3 sequels, but none of them released outside of Japan. Speaking of which, the series is called Kaiketsu Yanchamaru over there, if I said that correctly. Anyway, first in succession we have Kaiketsu Yanchamaru 2 Karakuri Land, released for the Famicom in 1991. This is a pretty good evolution of what the first game tried to be. It's another bright and colorful world. You can choose your levels from the beginning. It's a lot of different varieties too. There's like a food land, but it's also like a Christmas tree land. There's like angry volcanoes. There's a really cool train sequence, which video games love train sequences. The action's a lot more solid, and of course there is definitely a health bar, thankfully. Some hackers made an NES translation of it so you can enjoy it in English, even though you really don't need to since there's not much of a story. Maybe some menu things, it helps out a lot with the translation, but yeah, it is a good game. Next we have Ganso Yanachamaru, which released for the Game Boy in 1991. It feels like a cross between the second game and the original game in terms of sprite characteristics and the overall design of Niki and everything else. It's better than the first one, but not as good as 2. A decent portable game, let's say, but because it is a Game Boy game, it lacks that bright coloristic that the first 2 games really had, so there's that. And lastly, we have Kaiketsu Yanachamaru 3, released in 1993 for the Famicom. It too has an English translation. Again, not that you really need one. And it is another kind of drastic evolution of the series. Kind of lack in color. It is colorful, yes, but it's more of a monotone shift. It's kind of strange. Instead of having a sword, you actually do have a bow staff. I don't know if there's complaints that people thought you had a bow staff or whatever, but the bow staff, besides hitting enemies, you can actually use it to leap off of points to get higher or bounce off of walls back and forth. So there is some puzzle elements in here in order to get keys to open doors and so forth. Not as fun as I would say the second game is. That's probably the highlight in the game I should tell you to play, but this game is okay too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Even though this is a fairly forgettable franchise, half of it is good, half of it's forgettable, I still like highlighting these shining little gems here and there because it's part of our history for video games, and I love doing these retrospectives. So, obscure or not, beloved or not, I wish Kid Niki a very happy 30th anniversary. My name is Tristan, and you've been watching ReActionExaminer, wherein I do my best to create interesting videos to entertain and educate you fine folks. Be sure to subscribe, that helped me out a lot. And if you want to check out more, be sure to read my work over on The Gamer, wherein I write fun little listicles. You can also drop by my personal website, GameJerk, wherein I post other articles and reviews. All these links and more can be found in the description below. Thanks, and see you all next time.